Hello and welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander, National Sales Manager of Bona Adhesives.
And I'm Rob Johnson from Bona Training.
How you doing, Rob?
Pretty good, Wayne. Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. In your honor, I got a Bona Training shirt on, buddy.
I see that. You'll have to send me a Bona adhesive shirt. I don't have one.
Yeah, okay.
What's your hat? No, not going to happen. You know what? I do have a couple of adhesive hats. Maybe I'll wear my 851 hat. That's a good hat.
It is. It's it's a West Coast hat. So I got new hats now that are more generic to the whole country. But it had the flat. People say, "Hey, you're 60 years old and you're not hip anymore." Au contraire. This is like if you're like a gangster, maybe a rap singer or a rock icon, you'd want to have this hat. But they're all gone now.
What's it? The flat brim with the sticker still on it?
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
A while back when Bum was still living at home, a buddy of his came walking in the house wearing one of those hats. And I said, "Yeah, you damn kids don't know anything about hats." And I grabbed it off his head, tore the sticker off, and started to bend the brim. Well, you would have thought that I had lit that hat on fire. And Bum looked at the kid and said, "I told you not to wear that hat in front of my dad." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I fixed it. I fixed it for him. Now it looks good. Now it's a hat. Now it's a ball cap."
Yeah. But he didn't have the hat on backwards, though, did he?
No. Nope.
I just can't get behind that, man. I have a problem with that. So, okay.
Hey, so what are we going to talk about today, Wayne?
So today, we're going to talk about Potpourri. A whole list of
Potpourri?
Stuff. Yeah, you might call it Potpourri.
Is that how it's pronounced? I thought it was Potpourri.
Potpourri, I'm kidding. In this show, Rob, we've talked we've had some episodes where we because in the interest of time we didn't get something in, or we thought we probably should have said this, or maybe a listener said, "Hey, you guys missed this one," and so we just thought we'd throw it all into a show, just a bunch of random stuff that we've been hoarding for a while. Okay,
a potpourri.
Potpourri.
Yeah. That's a Jeopardy thing. Isn't that on Jeopardy? Potpourri?
I don't know.
You don't watch Jeopardy?
As one of the categories? I'm sure it probably is, yeah. But I don't watch Jeopardy, no.
I think it is. I think Potpourri is a Jeopardy. You don't like Jeopardy?
No, I was never a fan, no.
Unless you gotta be a real smart guy to watch Jeopardy. I mean, that's probably why I don't watch it too much is really shows me how little I know about everything.
Unless you watch a rerun or you watch it before, sometimes the show comes on at 3 and then maybe comes on at 7. You watch the early one and you're a genius with your friends.
You've seen the movie Groundhog Day, right?
Yeah.
There was a scene where Murray's watching the same Jeopardy probably for, 300th time in a row while he's drinking a bottle of Jack Daniels. And he's answering the questions and looking at everybody in the room before they're even done asking the question. And all the old people are clapping for him. It's a great scene.
Pretty good. All right. I'm going to throw something out there, Rob. Maybe you can throw something out there. But the first one I'm going to put out there, because I've heard it several times lately with calls that I've got from different contractors. Namely young guys that haven't been in the trade too long or what have you, and that is that and again, I'm going to preface this with a lot of this is Rob and I's opinion, right? I mean, this is not everybody's got their own way of doing things, and I could be dead wrong, and some guys might look at this and go, "You know what? I completely disagree. It worked great for us." But the first one I'm going to put out there because it really rubs me the wrong way when I was a contractor, and it's taking work to get work. Hey, I know this job, it doesn't pay much, but, and I know it's a bad situation, but, take care of us on this one and the next one. The next one will be a real good job. We'll take care of you on the next one. Well, my thought process was if they didn't want to really pay you much on this one, what makes you think they're going to want to pay you on the next one? So
Did you have a builder say that to you?
oh, I've had over the course of my career, yeah, maybe 2 or 3 times, and it may have worked once when I was a kid, but it's a red flag after that. In fact, it's a real turnoff to me.
That would be a tough one to swallow.
Yeah.
I remember Pete and I, we got called from this builder, one of the larger builders in the Albany area. He's like, "Oh, we've seen your work, and you know, you're the kind of crew that we're looking for." And I think this is going into. I might be jumping ahead, but the one bullet that you were talking about here, where maybe the best job you didn't. How'd you say it? The best job you didn't take was the one. The best job you got was the one you didn't take.
Yeah, something I see where you're going with that. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, you don't want to get all your jobs anyhow. In fact, there's some really good contractors that feel like you should probably miss about half your jobs. There's the thought process out there that to get your prices up, that's not such a bad thing. Again, just our opinion. I mean, in my opinion, I mean, you know, hell, it's different with everybody else. But I agree with that, man. I mean, you don't want all the jobs, and especially the more booked out you are, there's nothing worse than being booked out a month and a half and a fantastic job comes along that you could really make some great money on, and you're taking one that's less than you would like to fill out the schedule. So, all right,
Well,
so that's mine.
that builder that Pete and I are talked to, we ended up not taking it. It was huge houses. They were almost like tract mansions, you know, just huge developments. And I was thinking, you know, so as soon as I started talking about money, he's like, "Oh, don't worry about that." And I'm like, "Ah, no, I am kind of worried about that. It's just,
Yeah,
it's the two of us." And he goes, "Well, you know, you get the wood on the job." And I go, "Well, you know, whenever we drop wood on a job, we want 50% down." He goes, "Oh, no, it doesn't work that way." He goes, "I'll get you a line of credit at your distributorship, and we'll start to work like." And as soon as he started talking like that, I was like, boy, I wanted that work. You know, I knew it would have changed us, but I ended up watching that through the years, and the guys who took that, I knew a couple of guys, couple of companies that did take that, ran with it, and you know, hired on guys and bought more trucks and more equipment and everything. And they didn't go bankrupt, but it was a huge mistake. So I was pretty glad that I had walked away from that one, because that one I think would have just tore us up pretty quick because we were pretty small. It was just 2 of us.
well, I mean leads to another good point. Really, is that and I talked about red flags. Another red flag for me, a big time red flag, is when someone tries to dictate my business. That, you know, no, I know you take 25% down or whatever, but here's how we do it. Here's how we're going to pay and blah, blah, blah. I'm not interested. You don't know my business. You don't know what my aspirations are and what my overhead is and my plans and stuff like that. And I would never let anybody dictate my business, even as a young kid. I knew, and you know, you get in with a builder like that, and you get all your ducks in a row, and everybody, you're all invested with this builder. That's a scary place to be, and they have a lot of leverage on you. It could be a fantastic relationship that could last a long time, but it also could get to the point where you've got all your ducks in one basket, and that to me is a little scary. So letting someone else dictate your business is and also there's a certain amount of pride in, you know, that, hey, you know, that's just not going to happen. I run this ship, and that's just the way it is. So okay.
You know, this first one you talked about, as we started talking through that last story, that first bullet, taking work to get work. When Pete and I left my dad's company and we started our own, we were like, we were like the kings of taking work to get work. I would have raked your yard if you had given us a call. It was like the late 80s. I think it was like 89. Yeah, because Bum had just been born in 88, so it was like 89. And so we were definitely hungry. I mean, we weren't rich when we left. We just started it kind of on a wing and a prayer. And oh my gosh, some of the work that we were taking was just we look back at it now, it was kind of funny. Do you do banisters? Yes, we'll sand your banisters. Do you do?
Yeah.
We couldn't even get stair jobs at the time. It was like we were getting spindle jobs, and do you sand spindles? Oh hell yeah! Is it made of wood? Yeah, I'm your guy. Well, yeah, we're spindle specialists.
Okay, I gotta tell you then. So I wasn't even a contractor at the time. I was a union carpenter, but I was going down the direction of being a floor guy. I knew that's what I really wanted to do, and so I did a lot of stuff on the weekend. You know, um, buying equipment and stuff. And I say that I don't do that, but I did it on one occasion, and I still cracks me up when I think about it. The guy that he used to own the Oakland Tribune. He had a kid. We did the floors in his house, or I did the floors in his house. I think back then I was just by myself. And he looked out in the backyard and he goes, my kid's got a birthday coming up in a couple weeks, and I bought this, massive backyard swing set for him. Do you want to put it together for him? I'll pay for it. I go, no, I don't. That's not what I do. He goes, I give you $800. I said, okay, I can do that. I'll put that together. So I did. I did make an exception for a playground set, which I had swallowed my pride there a little bit, but I got paid. Okay, the next one, Rob. You got one? You want me to go?
No, you keep going.
Okay. And this is one that we talked about before, but because I see this a lot, man, if you don't figure your overhead on a job, it will absolutely devour you. And that is if you don't figure what the tires cost on your truck, having your tires replaced. If you don't think about your storage, what the lights on, the electricity, and all these type of things, the machinery. Like I said before, my father-in-law used to tell me, you gotta put something in for your machines on every job, because every job they're getting older. And so not really figuring your overhead and getting a really good understanding of what your overhead is. And I mean, you have to figure everything. It can devour you over time on your profit. If it takes away 5% on each job, 10% on each job, a little bit here and there, if you look at the bottom line at the end of a month, 6 months or 12 months, that's a massive amount of money out of your pocket. And if you extrapolate that out over a 20-year career, it's a tremendous amount of money. So really getting an understanding of your overhead and building that into the job is, we talked about it before. I think we had one of our guests. Oh, we had Chris Zizza on here.
Zizza, right? I was just gonna say, I think
Yeah,
Zizza really talked about that pretty good, wasn't it? Him that he was saying, does he take 1% or 3% of every one of his jobs?
3%.
3%.
So if you haven't listened to that podcast with Chris Zizza on there, he gives a lot of great business advice. And this is a bullet point that I put down, but I really think if you look at it like that it can devour you over time. I think that's a pretty eye-opening piece of information if you don't take it into consideration.
That other one that Zizza talked about, and that was the one where I said, "Oh, we got to have him on the show." And that's what this show is, kind of going back over some stuff, drilling a little bit deeper. But when Zizza was talking about how to really figure out your costs, I mean, you're going there. That's what you're talking about with your overhead. But throwing everything away, and then at the end of the week, taking those trash bags and dumping them on the floor to really see how much sandpaper, how many applicators, how many paintbrushes, how many rags, how much finish. That is really that was just an eye-opening experience. I wish that I had done that in my younger days when we had started our company. we definitely could have got a better handle on how much we should have been charging by the square foot, and not just saying, well, this is what we get in the Albany area, so this is what we get. Where I see too many people too at the trainings where that's how they're charging per square foot. They're not looking at what it costs them or how much they want to make. A lot of what they're basing what they're charging is what their town charges, what the people in their area, what the average price is. And you can't get more than that. But you and I both know that there's lots of people who get a lot more than what people are thinking that they're getting.
So if you take, let's say I did a job, it's, let's say I figure I made $2,000 on a job. And then I go back and look at, I didn't charge for my gas for the trucks for that month. And that is coming out of that $2,000 job, that 2,000, there's bunch of $100 bills laying on the table. And you take some away for the gas that you didn't figure, for the insurance that you didn't figure, for the tolls that you may not have figured, for that one piece of equipment you had to get for this particular job, the trip you had to go to Home Depot. If you don't figure those little things, at the end of a job, man, like I said, the way that you can extrapolate that out and how much money that actually means, it's huge. But the thing is, we talked about. I always talk about how important the bid is. When you're in front of that homeowner and you have a chance to give them that number, you can't outwork a bad bid, and it's no fun even if you could. So making sure you get everything in there and show them what your value is and what your worth is, I think is huge. I mean, you'll hit a long ball once in a while, on the jobs. I mean, we all every once in a while you hit that home run where it's crazy amount of money or whatever on a job and things flowed your way. But and by the way, you need those jobs too. You should never feel guilty about those jobs because you flat out need those jobs, because some might go the other direction. So they're important for your business. So
Definitely.
the next one that I'm going to talk about is stop thinking about what your worth is. What you think your worth is really irrelevant. It's what the customer thinks your goods and services are worth that is really what is important. And I think we get stuck sometimes in that. And I think the reason we do is because there's a lot of really good, hardworking people in this trade that are really just decent, hardworking people that care and they're decent and they want to do the right thing and whatever. They don't want to gouge anybody. But I think it's important that we, as tradesmen, and there's less and less of us in the world, doing quality work. I think sometimes we get caught up too much thinking what we think that job is worth to us. We've all, seen a piece of beautiful art that to me, it wouldn't mean anything to me, but for someone else, it could be, $100,000, unless I couldn't resell it, buy a bass boat out of the deal. But so my point is, I think that we get caught up in that, and what people will pay for having someone that they can depend on, that they don't have to worry about, that they can trust in their home, that they've got, they can walk out that door and go to work and have a complete peace of mind for a guy that makes $150,000, $200,000 a year. The difference between $3,500 for the job or $4,800 for the job is minuscule to him. I think that something we need to consider as well when we look at our business.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that we talk about it every day during the trainings is charge more money. We've seen it across the board in everywhere that you've trained or you've conducted business. There are just so many guys who just don't charge enough money. It's almost like they don't want to get out of that comfort zone. They know that this is a good price. I'm going to get a lot of jobs at this price. So, here I'm going to stay. Where I think you got to sometimes just get out of that comfort zone and keep asking for more until you find your ceiling, I'm constantly talking about Bum, but when Bum started, I think he was around, I don't know, maybe around $3 a foot. And then on a year or two ago. We're talking about a job that he had just finished or something, and I said, "Geez, you did good on this job," And I had said the number, and he looked at me and he goes, "What the hell are you talking about?" He goes, "Actually, the number was this." And I said, "What the hell are you talking about?" He's up around over $5 a foot, in the Albany area, which is pretty high, And when I said, "What the hell?" and he looked at me and he goes, "Hey, you're the one who told me to keep charging, keep raising the price until I find the ceiling." He goes, that's around my ceiling. So I said, well, that's, for this area, that was great money. But I was a little shocked that he actually did what I was recommended to do, to find that cap, find the ceiling. And he did. Took a couple of years. And those people aren't going to be crawling out of the woodwork, the people who are willing to pay the highest. But when you start to offer more than just the floors, you know what I mean? Just like you said, the peace of mind, the trust, that's what people are willing to pay for. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I've seen it. And like I said, I've seen it with my son, but I've also seen it with almost every single training that I've done. And people who listen to the show have heard me say this 1,000 times, but there's always that guy in the back of the room staying kind of quiet, telling him not getting into the discussion. I'm like, well, in this area, you can only get this, because it's not true. There are people in every single area that are willing to pay that high-end price.
There's a couple things, Rob. Sorry to interrupt you, but my point was more brilliant than that. I think there's a couple of things. And now one of the things that I think is so important is the experience. When you can get your floors done by two different people and with the same results and have two completely different experiences. You'll have a guy that, they get the job done, but, maybe not pleasant to be around, maybe didn't respect your home as much and these type of things. And what you're paying for, part of this is the experience. If you give them absolutely positively over the top experience every night, maybe text them, say, hey, just want to know, where we're at in the process. Yourself when you're dealing with contractors or whatever, or no matter what, dropping your car off to get your car fixed or whatever. To find great service nowadays is rare, and you look how much you appreciate it. It's so rare that we appreciate the hell out of it when we get it. Think of a great server when you go to a restaurant. Where, man, I mean, they're just on the ball all the time. You don't even have to ask, you know what I mean? And they just do it right. And by the way, if you're a server, always know, it's a fact that when waitresses or whatever touch you on your shoulder, whatever, that they get more tips. Do you know that? It's a more of a personal connection, and for them to put their hand on your shoulder a little bit, it goes a long way.
So you need to be touched.
No, I don't.
And that's how you're gonna. Listen, that's the only way you're gonna give up that big tip.
That's not.
You need to be touched, huh?
But
what about a full bore shoulder back rub? You're probably gonna pay huge money for that, right?
Or a hug. Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Pauline should be a waitress. She'd make thousands a week. She's a toucher and a hugger.
Well, I talk about, I swear to God, in the South, it is it's anybody that's not from the South who experiences this will know what I'm talking about. Just the other day, my wife and I went to a restaurant, and the kid's like 20, maybe she's 20 years old, and she'll come up. She goes, "Hey, honey, what can I get you?" "Okay, darling, I'm gonna put out some bread and butter, but if you guys want more, just let me know." "Okay, sweetheart, do you guys gonna have dessert?" You know what I mean? It's very, maybe today in different parts of the country, it doesn't, whatever, but it's not. It's just a culture here, and I think it's very charming to me. And but my point is, the experience is worth a lot. And that when you talk about your price and what you're worth and what the people think of you afterwards and all that type of stuff, I think it goes a long way. And this is a podcast about floors. And we talk a lot about money. We're old. We learn. how important it is, man. And then we learn some stuff along the way, and so there's a reason for that. We, again, these are just our us talking, but we would really, we like to see the guys be successful and get the most out of this career as they possibly can. So that's the reason why we do. All right.
Yeah, we're old, all right. I mean, we're heading into retirement age. How old are you?
Yes.
You're 60, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't think that would become
I'm a kid,
digit.
though.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Well, we're both
60?
very immature. That's what keeps us young.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Immaturity. Yeah. But
I think so too.
yeah, you're 60. I think I'm 59.
Listen,
Yeah, I'm 59.
I
Yeah,
got
all of a sudden you're thinking retirement. There is, wow, I might get to the end of this damn race.
You
And
know what, though?
one of the smartest things you ever said in this show, and I'm going to give you your props. Once in a while, I'm going to give you your props. That money making, how was that thing you said?
Well, how the hell
Come
do I
on.
know now?
No. Is when you were making your best money, but you didn't start making your best money until you were into your 30s.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could be making your best money starting at your 20s.
Yep.
And hopefully
that
that's what we're helping some people out with this show.
Yep.
Is I did have a caller tell me, yeah, I love the show, but you do sound a little greedy. Your wife is right. And I was like, well, I've just seen too many people leave too much money on the table through the years.
Yep.
And we work too hard to, like you said, to feel guilty about taking money when it's there for the taking.
Yep.
Especially when you deserve it and you give them the experience. Absolutely.
Yep. So that experience is important, man. I mean, like I said, you can get the same results from two different people, and you'll have two completely different experiences. And so that personal touch should not be overlooked, especially nowadays. It is hugely important. Which brings me to my next point. And we talked about social media before, and I don't care because I just, it blows my mind, Rob. I know social media and I know this, but I still can't get over how powerful it is. Remember back in the day when you had a yellow page ad, right? If you were lucky, you know, especially starting out, you had, say, a 3-inch by 5-inch ad on the yellow pages. And what did that 3-inch by 5-inch ad say, Rob? Because
let me tell you what mine said. Here's what ours said.
Hold on a second. They said
no. Let me tell you what mine said.
Go ahead.
No, mine was different. No way you saw this on anybody else's.
Okay.
It was RJ Associates, sanding, install, repair, screen and recoats.
Okay. I'm bored.
4th generation.
I'm still bored.
And then I had a little tagline there. We're small, but we're slow.
Is that right? That's actually pretty good. Every one of them had the same damn message. It goes like this: free estimates, right? Bonded, insured, custom borders, dust containment, maybe dust in the then move on to dust containment. That was it. Now you have an opportunity like no other tradesman that's ever came before you in this entire industry. Never before in the history of man has a tradesman had a chance to absolutely talk to your customers and show your work in the best light possible, using the exact descriptions you want to say, putting the exact story out there that you want them to hear. It is the great equalizer. So, you know, yellow pages were useless and radio ads were crazy expensive and probably useless as well. This not jumping on board the social media game is to me such a mistake, man. And you know, I know a lot of old school guys think, you know, it's passed me by or whatever. But look at the opportunity that we get from social media, man. It is just, I mean, I seen a guy put something on there the other day, and just a simple 30-second thing, and by the following week, it had like 600 or 700 views, and that's nothing. You know what I mean? So huge, man, huge social media. And there's an expression
that's where the customers are.
Yeah.
That's where the customers are, man.
Yep.
Bum was telling me that just about all of his work, all the work he gets now is either word of mouth or through his social media.
Yeah.
That it's crazy.
Yep. And so guys would say that, you know what, that's the way I've done it for years and years. And, we did fine. There's an expression I like that is, a ship doesn't sail on yesterday's wind. That's, that's in the past. There's a whole new way of doing business now. And the doors that this can open up is just absolutely incredible.
We got a Yellow Pages a couple weeks ago.
You're kidding. I didn't even know
No.
they existed anymore.
We got a freaking Yellow Pages. Yeah.
Okay.
The Yellow Pages from around here used to be like an inch and a half thick.
Yeah.
Like a 2x4. Now it wasn't 3/8. It wasn't 3/8 thick.
Yeah.
And there were some floor guys in there. I looked them, same guys. Actually, a couple of the guys were guys when I had my ad in there. They're still kicking around.
Yeah. All right. So also just one other thing that we work with general contractors in this trade. And the other thing that I meant to say on I had in my notes for a long time is not to undervalue our value to a general contractor. There are general contractors today that don't do actually any of the work, and some things need to be. You have to have a general contractor's license in order to do the work, and even though they're not doing the work, they're charging for their risk. I mean, there's risk them being on the job, and there's a lot of specialty trades now. I mean, as even homes have gotten more complicated with the radiant heat systems and the different electronics and stuff like that. That every trade now seems to be a specialty trade. So a lot of times they're just running the show. They're paper contractors, which is no disrespect. I mean, I in fact quite the opposite. I'm amazed at general contractors, the amount of liability and stuff that they take on and what have you. But part of your value is part of their value is you and their Rolodex that has your name in it, and that they know that they can trust you and that you're bringing quality products to the job. So a lot of people don't care for working for builders. We had a nice mix of both builders, homeowners, general contractors, and the like. But I think it would make sure that we know our value also when we're working with this group of clientele. I mean, there's a real peace of mind to a general contractor that can just put that off his list, that he doesn't have to worry about the floor guy. But that's going to be taken care of. He doesn't have to put his energy into that. And that's worth a little bit more money that he doesn't have to. It's one less headache he has.
Yeah, I agree. I've been helping out on the tech line.
Okay.
Now that we've had our wings clipped for training, but the good news is we're booking schools, man. I just booked some flights and hotels and everything. So it looks like end of March, we're going to get training going, rocking and rolling, knock on wood, that
Nice.
Everything goes good and we don't have any more spikes. But I know Pauline's going to miss me. She's going to miss those hot meals when she comes home from work, but you'll be able to give her a call, take care of her for me,
I stopped
give her
calling
some
her.
company.
Well,
I'm home every day. You can't.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. That's
Yeah. Well, she going to talk to you while I'm sitting with her?
Yeah, that's not right. I know she got rid of the burner phone because the burner phone just goes to.
Yeah, you don't think I can find that?
Yeah, you're better than I thought, man.
Yeah.
I want to apologize for that too, by the way. I don't know what I was thinking.
What's that?
Calling Pauline on the side like that. That's just, I don't know what happened to me. I lost my head.
She's like those Southern waitresses, one touch, one hug.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And you just want to leave a bigger tip. I better stop talking. My kids listen to this and they don't like it when I start to get gross. So.
Okay, cool. All right, Rob, let me ask you something. I also wanted to ask you while we had the chance on here, because it's wintertime. We talk about wintertime challenges. Talk to me about the freeze thaw situation with the products.
That's something. That's where I was going. I mean, now that I've been helping out on the tech line, actually, it's been fun because every now and then I even get to talk to some listeners, which is pretty cool. But that is one that we get a lot of calls on the tech line about. What do I do with my frozen product, or what happens if the product freezes? So, right off the bat, I started to look into this. I talked to our lab and I talked to the product management people and everything. Got some great tips, and actually had my eyes open too on what Bona does when we're shipping our stuff. Uh, First off, with the oil-based products and our adhesive products, no need to worry about any of those. They don't have water in it. So if it doesn't have water in it, all you have to do, like your adhesives, they get cold, they might get a little hard. You just got to let them soften up on their own, room temperature. You don't want to, the trick is when you're bringing these things back to life, is you don't want to rush it. You don't want to, and I remember Pete and I walking in with poly that was like as thick as toothpaste and putting it on radiators and stuff and stirring the hell out of it and trying to get it warm again. That's something you don't want to be doing with these products. You want to let them acclimate to the room, let them come up naturally, slowly, then they'll come right back to where they were. Another cool thing that I found out about how Bona ships is we actually have somebody in the shipping department who watches the weather every single day, watches the weather all over the 48 states. And she will determine where a load is going if that load needs to be protected. And I think the number she told me was 34 degrees. So if it's going to be 34 or below within, a 2 or 3 day ship time over the road, whatever, then they'll ship it a reefer truck. It's a refrigerated truck, not the reefer trucks that come out of Denver, but a lot of stuff comes out of North Carolina. So they will look at where it's going, what the temperature is going to be, and does it need to be protected. So rest assured that the product that you're getting from Bona to your distributor has not been frozen. Like I said, because we check that weather every day, and wherever it's being shipped, they make sure that if it's going to a cold place, if it's heading out to Minnesota, it's going to be in a protected truck. It kind of blew me away. There's a lot more going on than what you and I think,
You can always ask me if you have questions about stuff like that. By the way,
I didn't need to bother anybody. Just should have went right to you with this, huh?
You should have. Just by the way, too, the adhesive too freezes down to 0, not 32. So which is rather nice, especially in those cold climates. And you reminded me too when you said about the polyurethane. When I was a contractor in California, we didn't have to worry about freezing issues. That was really an eye opener when I moved back east. But it reminds me of all the days. And in California, your polyurethane has to come in quarts, no gallons. And I'd be driving to work with 12 quarts on my dash with the heater on, just to give it that little bit more, to warm it up a little bit more so I could roll it. Which, by the way, I don't know if you've ever rolled wood line polyurethane, but it absolutely flat out positively rolls like a dream. Oh man, it rolls just flat out stunning. It looks like you sprayed it on. Anyhow, that's not the topic.
All right, so one more thing about the freeze stuff.
Okay.
With the water-based products, if they freeze solid at 0 degrees for 16 hours, there's a good chance that you're going to have some clumps in there. But, a lot of the freezing that takes place isn't that drastic, okay? 0 for 16 hours, that's quite a test, okay? So if you just, let's say, for instance, it's 28 degrees, it froze a little bit in the truck overnight. You should have brought it in, but it, whatever happens, it happens. The trick to thawing the water-based products out, like the adhesives, just let them come up to room temperature naturally. The thing that you want to do, though, is do not stir it. Don't shake it. Don't stick a stick in there to break up the ice clumps or anything like that. Let it come back 100% naturally. You don't want to be shaking it, stirring it, banging the clumps around or anything like that, because what I was told by our lab and what they've seen in the past is by doing that, the ice shards can slice polymers. They can slice the polymers or they can slice the resins, which is really going to cause some issues down the road. So when you're thawing your product out, like I said, don't move it, don't shake it, don't do anything like that. Just let it come back naturally. But if you think after that and it's still coming out clumpy and everything, somewhere down the line, it froze for 16 hours at 0 degrees. But like I said, when Bona does our shipping, it's all protected. So everybody just needs to keep an eye on the weather, keep an eye on how you're storing it. I mean, really, it's a pain in the neck. Best thing to do if you think it's going to freeze, bring it in the house or get it out, leave it in the job, and let it acclimate on the job.
Yeah. That was a really, coming from the West Coast when I moved back here, man, and Michigan was part of my territory. And I'd have the, my van, the Bona van with all my equipment and stuff. And I'd be, every night you're in a hotel. And I had to go get the cart and put the cases of finish in the cart and bring it in the hotel room, which was like so unheard of in California, man. But I learned it the hard way the first time. My first trip to Michigan could not have been more of a disaster. If you don't think there's different cultural differences in the country, my first week up to Michigan was during deer hunting season. I had no idea it was deer hunting season, and there was nobody to be found. There was nobody.
There's nobody there. Yeah.
Nobody.
No.
It was like it was like being there on Christmas Day, and then I couldn't. I go, man, that place is pretty slow, man. I was surprised. And then finally, some dude goes, "Why'd you come up here during hunting week, man? It's open season." I went, "Oh my god." That, and I froze my first out of the hotel. I went in the van and I realized the finish froze. Never even thought about it, man. Never was on my radar screen. I never even dawned on me until that first trip. I learned quick.
Yep. Oh, that's a religion up there, man. I remember I was talking to a distributor. We're going through some dates, and I said, "Oh, hey, I think it was like early October or something." I said, I got the first 2 weeks of October or last 2 weeks of October. I'll come up for a week. We'll do a couple of things. And he's like, he just started laughing. He goes, "So I guess you're not a hunter, huh?" I said, "No, I fish. Don't hunt. I fish." He goes, "It's hunting season." He goes, we won't get anybody in here for hunting season." Well, you remember Todd McDonald? You know Todd McDonald. Of course you know.
Of course, yeah. Matter of fact, he just called me as we were talking. That was the phone that I had to put on silent. Yeah.
It's Todd McDonald?
Yeah.
Well,
I'll put his number up for everybody to see.
I remember working with Todd, and we were talking about getting together to do something, and I had mentioned those dates, and he looked at me and he goes, "Oh, I'm off those." It was like 2 or 3 weeks. He goes, "Oh, I'm off those weeks." And I'm like, "Oh, really? Where are you going?" He looked at me. He goes, "Hunting." He goes, "It's hunting season." And Toddy Mac would take those 2 weeks off and hunt.
Oh yeah, that's that's his life, man. He loves he's big into deer hunting. And then we cracked me up. I saw a promotion, bag a buck and get such and such as a promotion. I can't remember what the promotion was. I thought, try running that promotion in California. See how well that plays. All right. So Rob, you got anything else?
Nah, we're good. That's a wrap.
I just wanted to make sure there's some things that were just hanging around for a while that I didn't want to, before I threw the notes away. And I wanted to just throw it all out there on an episode. So we did it. All right. So thank you very much. We have the next podcast coming up is going to be kind of fun. We're going to have fun with the next one. It's going to be about tough guys. And me and Rob know a little bit about that.
You got to be tough in this business, man.
Yes, sir. Okay. This has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. Please stay tuned for another episode.